Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for joining the Redington virtual sessions. Today's topic we have from Palo Alto Networks on global Protect VPN, and we have a pre-sales engineer, Naveed, who will be taking you through the session. In case you have any questions during the session, I would request you to please put in all your questions in the Q&A box, and Naveed will be answering them at the end of the session. So, Naveed, you can begin.
Thank you, Bindya. Hello, guys. Hi, my name is Naveed, and I'm the pre-sales engineer for enterprise security in Redington. And I've been working with Redington since 2016, and on Palo Alto since quite 2 to 3 years now. So, today's topic, as you all know, due to current situation, COVID-19, remote access, VPN, and endpoint security, multi-factor authentication, all of these technologies have taken up a lot of interest. And why it should not be? Because the current situation is, as you know, work from home, and such technologies are making sure that the remote workforce is secure and making sure that the business is up and running. So when we talk about Palo Alto Networks, Palo Alto Networks itself has its own innovative technology when it comes to remote access, VPN, or I would say remote security when it comes to branches or mobile users. So I hope most of you are aware of the technology. So this would be a refresh and also an add-on to the additional features that have been released in version 9. Okay. So the topic is pretty simple, and we'll try to make it interactive. So we'll talk about global Protect VPN. Okay, and when it comes to VPN, many people, they believe VPN is the only level of security that can be achieved when it comes to remote workforce or remote access VPN or remote access network. So when you talk about remote access, what comes to your mind? Just a secure tunnel from the branch offices or from remote places, from mobile devices, mobile users to the headquarter or main data center. But that's just not enough. When we talk about security in terms of remote access, context and access control are the main things, and not many people are aware of that. So previously, unlike or I would say in the previous days, olden days, traditional VPN would just depend upon establishing connection between the remote office or remote user and the head office or the main data center, without taking into consideration the context or the parameters on which security can be established or can be improved. So what is context? Context is basically I would say the information that can help any administrator of an organization improve the security. So gone are the days when people used to connect from, or it was accepted that it is a good approach to connect any person from anywhere. Okay, now it is still possible and it can be achieved, but you should make sure that not connecting any person with any device from anywhere, even through a secure tunnel or in a secure way, is the best approach towards security. You should make sure that you decide your security posture or the policies on which your organizational security is based is completely compliant and as per the context. So when you talk about context, it is not just a user or just a machine or remote PC, tablet, mobile device connecting to the main network or headquarter or data center. It is context also is comprised of the user. Okay, user department or the priority of a user. Okay, in terms of an organization, how important that person is. So all this contextual information adds up to the risk of access, or how risky that access could be when you enable remote access to an organization organization's network. So user group, user priority, location, geolocation, how compliant is the device, and what kind of applications are you using. Okay, based upon these, your remote access control, I would say, should be configured or should be based on. So you cannot uh, have a simple username and password based access for an engineer or for a contractor who is dealing with the organization. You know, I would say thrice or four times in a month. Okay, whereas if you have a higher level management employee or higher manager person who is who wants to connect to the organizational network from another country, you definitely have to impose higher or better security policies for him. So compared to an employee who has who is not a manager at a managerial level, and compared to an employee with highest grade of in the organization, you will have to decide different policies. So for the employee, a normal employee, you can have a username and password based access, but you cannot definitely have him access to critical applications or or to all applications through the enterprise network through the secure tunnel. And depending on his requirement, you will have to limit the access, the level of access that he gets over the corporate internet and network. Similarly, when it comes to a higher grade or manager or managerial employee, you will have to make sure that you are implementing highest level of security, definitely, because you cannot afford to lose his credentials. For example, by chance, if some kind of attack happens and his credentials are stolen, then it would be a major threat to the employee or to the the person as well as the organization. So at such, depending upon this context, you will have to consider what location he is, residing in. So you should make sure that the policy is limited to not just his device, but but his user account, strictly to his user account, strictly to the resources to which he wants access, to the applications that he wants access, and using not just username and password or just basic authentication methods, but also elevated ones like multi-factor authentication with token, SMS, and OTP. So the basic of establishing a secure remote access VPN is, I would say, context and access control. Yeah. So that's what we even discussed in the previous slide, that nowadays, as due to remote access, the requirement of remote access or work from home, and seeing the situation which will exist, the situation will exist for quite a few more months now, and it is unpredictable what will happen. You have to make sure that you define your policies and define security, I would say, regulations as to what the users will be uh, having, as their remote workforce devices. So will they have BYOD or will they have enterprise devices? Based upon that, you will have to make sure that what kind of access, what kind of regulations you will be applying for those employees. So for a contractor, the security policies will be different. For an employee using enterprise devices, the security policy will be different. For an employee who is using BYOD, the security policies or access control policies will be different. And for an admin who needs full access to the internet, the security policies will be different. And moreover, uh, based upon the context and the level of access, also you have to decide the criticality of the services. Okay, so all these things, the priority, the context, and the access control combined together can form a highly secure remote access infrastructure. Now, when you talk about Palo Alto Networks and Global Protect, yeah, so traditional VPN, when in the olden times, when you had to overcome all these challenges and establish or set up a secure and compliant remote access setup, you had to basically use multiple technologies. So like VPN concentrator, MFA solution, NAC solution, so that you can even the existing directory services. So all of these technologies definitely are having different are acting as different silos, have different software, different hardware, and has to be integrated together. But it is always a good approach to have as much options or as many features in a single solution on a single pane of glass to configure, administer, and monitor, troubleshoot, and report. Okay, so if you see the traditional VPN and the global Protect VPN, Palo Alto Networks have done a huge amount of work and tried to develop a solution that can provide you with a compliant or a highly I would say highly comprehensive featured and a solution so that you can manage in a single pane of glass. So you can see it provides you with not just remote access and secure connectivity, but also prevents you with from threats. Okay, so depending upon the applications, which are corporate or internet or cloud-based applications, and it also can be deployed on premise or on cloud. So so let's talk about the enterprise or the most common corporate enterprise network. As you can see, if you have to make sure that the mobile workforce or the remote workforce is secure, you have to make sure that they are given access to their corporate network. Okay, and not just that, their devices are checked for being compliant. So when I say being compliant, it could be a list of security checks like do they have endpoint security installed on their laptops? Do is their operating system hardened? Um, are they using a password policy or a password which is following at least 8 characters alphanumeric special characters policy, so a complex password basically. And you know also when they access, is the access being logged, or whatever the activity they are doing is being logged and uh, audited for regulations and reporting purposes. So what solution does Palo Alto provide? It is Global Protect VPN. As we talked, it is on premise as well as over the cloud now. Okay, and it extends basically the same security that next generation firewall provides for the enterprise corporate network to the remote offices and mobile users. So you can, from this you can understand that the core platform is the NGFW firewall. Okay, so which controls the VPN establishment and disconnection, the security policies, the traffic inspection, um, any kind of threat prevention features, okay, and providing with the full traffic visibility. So the global red VPN works in alliance with the NGFW technology, and there are many other technologies that are not the focus of this session, but they are Wildfire, Palo Alto Wildfire, which is the sandboxing, and even there is something called Palo Alto Prisma, which is cloud access security. Okay, so there are multiple technologies, but mainly Global Private VPN works strongly in alliance with NGFW to establish VPN, to establish secure access to the corporate network and to the internet through the corporate network. And as you can see, it also is not like traditional VPN where just a VPN establishment and access is possible through the to the VPN. It also makes sure that your security posture is compliant and you're allowing the right people to the right resources. Yeah. So that's what we talked about. So adding to that, we have now when we started with the next generation firewall, Palo Alto had only Global Protect VPN for on-premise. But now, as the years have passed by, they have also established. They have grown basically, and they have VPN flavors now in cloud, in public as well as private cloud. Okay, so Prisma Access is Palo Alto's own cloud-based VPN solution for cloud-based applications and or cloud-based infrastructure. And when it comes to public cloud, Palo Alto VM series firewall provide the users and the organizations or the corporations with the capabilities to to have remote access VPN over the cloud infrastructure. So moving on, so what how Global Protect is different when it comes to establishing a secure remote access infrastructure. It is through capabilities like rapid troubleshooting, full visibility, and comprehensive reporting. So I'll just go back to this slide again. Okay, so now if anyone is not aware, Global Protect is a proprietary technology from Palo Alto for VPN, okay, policy-based VPN. So I am assuming that everyone knows what is policy-based VPN and what is remote access VPN. So there are two components in Global Protect. There is Global Protect Portal and there is Global Protect Gateway. And not everyone is aware of this unless you have expertise on Palo Alto. So there's a good chance. This is a good chance for you to understand how the technology works. So it's a proprietary technology. So it has its own benefits when it comes to using Palo Alto technology. Okay, and in uh, unlike any other client, which is a free client or a third-party client. So a Global Protect client connects to something called Global Protect Gateway, which is like a central hub where authentication of the users happen. Policies are defined as to depending upon the context, which user from which location, depending upon the the designation or the priority of the user, will access which resources and what kind of control that person will have. So all these policies are configured on the Global Protect gate, on the portal, and once the client authenticates the portal, he receives all of these policies. Okay, and then there is a second component which is Global Protect gateway. There is portal, gateway, and then client. The client first authenticates to the portal, takes or receives all the policies and also the information that onto which gateway it can connect to, or it should connect to get access to the corporate network. So in most of the cases, where you have a small deployment or standalone deployment, I would say, or a distributed deployment. So there is the portal and the gateway is configured on the same firewall. Okay, so it's basically two components on the same firewall, wherein the VPN client connects to the portal, authenticates, gets the policies, connects to the same firewall basically, but to another component which is gateway, which establishes secure tunnel. Basically, does the security association and establishes the tunnel and receives the traffic, and the firewall policies uh, based upon the, the the contextual policies that you have configured or access control that you have configured, the users get access to the required resources. But this sounds easy and also I would say logical when it comes to a standalone deployment, but it is way much better, and it is in terms of automated communication and policy pushing and ease of use when there is a distributed deployment. Okay, having portal and gateway on a single firewall makes it much easier to work with, to configure and manage. But it becomes a challenge when you have a distributed deployment where you have portal at one office or headquarter and gateways at multiple branch offices. So if you see the other technologies which have worked in the past or which had started with using developing such technologies to work with distributed remote access VPN, they had many challenges, but uh, Palo Alto did also try their best with Global Protect technology, and they had seen a huge improvement when it comes to the distributed deployment. So that was one thing that I wanted to point out. So now Global Protect, when it was launched, I would say it had started with version 4, then it improved it in version 6. Now there is it then moved to version 7, 8, and now it is version 9. So with version 9, there have been tremendous number of features added and improvements with the technology. So as you can see, they have made a lot of enhancements in terms of troubleshooting, visibility, and reporting capabilities of Global Protect. So moving on from troubleshooting, you can see when you log into the NGFW Palo Alto NGFW firewall, and you go to logging section under monitoring, there are dedicated now, unlike before version 6, 7, or 8, there is dedicated logging section or log section for only Global Protect VPN. So in the past, it was part of system logs for VPN establishment and traffic logs when it comes to monitoring the traffic in and out of the firewall. But now it is made much easier, and they have a separate log section called Global Protect itself. So you can see at each and every step, or what are the different steps by which the remote user establishes connection with the portal, how it becomes successful, or the failure happens. And at each step you can analyze when it fails, why it happened, at what step it happened, so that you can fix it, or you can configure it correctly. So the same thing happens for portal, the same logging happens for portal as well as gateway. Similarly, and another enhancement is the contextual information, like we have been discussing. So you can see the logs are much more granular, much more detailed. So it not just provides you with the information about the IP address, host name, username, but also the geolocation, the stage at which the communication is happening during VPN establishment, along with the other contextual information like uh, username, geolocation, and many other things. So, so there is another column which has been added called error. So in any kind of failure in terms of VPN establishment, or traffic, I would say disconnection, it will be logged in specifically a column called error. So in case of troubleshooting, when you want to find out any failure in terms of VPN establishment, or in terms of authentication failure, or in terms of traffic disconnection, or traffic not being established, you can just filter the logs based upon by the error column and see all the failure logs. Yeah, that's what we were talking about. And you have option. Previously there was no option to filter on the Global Protect logs. Okay, now there's a separate logging section with much more contextual information, and specific filters and specific columns for identifying failure or error logs. So this makes Global Protect VPN much better when it comes to configuration and troubleshooting. So you will know exactly at what point it is failing and why it is failing. Secondly, it is visibility. So if you have worked on with Palo Alto, next generation firewall and Global Protect VPN, there is something called monitor dashboard. Okay, and as you know, Palo Alto is known for the visibility, okay, of the traffic and applications in an organization. So previously there was no specific dashboard for identifying information or finding out information about the VPN, Global Protect VPN. But now they have specific dashboard and multiple panels to identify the user activity in terms of Global Protect VPN. As you can see, if there are multiple portals and multiple gateways, how many connections are being established with each portal or gateway, and also a number of connections based upon the location. Also, so they have made huge enhancements or multiple enhancements when it comes to troubleshooting and identifying the the reason of failure of VPN establishment or traffic disconnection or traffic blocking. So they have specific panel for identifying the reason in case a VPN is not established or if the VPN connection fails. So like you can see, it could be device based, based upon the server, so sorry, the client certificate, if it is invalid or if it has any issues, or it could be due to incorrect username and password, or it could be due to miscommunication between the the directory server and the global protect VPN. So based upon the reason, you can find out why the VPN establishment has been unsuccessful. Also, yeah, like we said, we already covered based upon the authentication method. So here is a slide which shows you, you know, uh, apart from the reason, is there specifically an authentication failure between the user, and the directory service like Active Directory or multi-factor authentication server, like based upon Redis protocol. So when it comes to reporting, yeah, they have also made huge enhancements on reporting. So apart from rapid troubleshooting capabilities and good visibility, it has also added many features when it comes to reporting. Okay, so as you can see, previously Global Protect VPN, they didn't have customizable reports. Okay, they didn't even have dedicated reports. I would say people used to, admins used to export the logs from the monitor or traffic logs, and they used to form their own reports. But now there are reports specifically, or I would say predefined report templates specifically for Global Protect VPN. As you can see in the picture, there are reports specifically based upon the Global Protect log database, which they have recently developed, and the reports like successful portal users, unsuccessful portal users, unsuccessful logins by users, by gateways, and by portals, and many other things. So previously this was not customizable, now it has become customizable. So also with version 9 they have added not just Global Protect VPN reports as customizable, they have also made the generic reporting databases as customizable. Also uh, they have made enhancements in terms of role based access control. So you can see they can admins can now give rights to the Global Protect logs and reports based upon the role-based access control. So an administrator who has full access to firewall policies and I would say management options of the firewall may not have access to the logs specifically, or all kind of logs, or VPN logs. So such kind of role-based access control can be created now with version 9. So now, considering the current situation, yeah, how Palo Alto Networks is helping their customers and partners is by giving out free services and licenses. So when it comes to next generation firewall, uh, if you're not aware, the NGFW comes with free Global Protect VPN feature. So you don't need license for Global Protect VPN to be used on your hardware or VM series firewall. Okay, so you can just buy the firewall even without the threat prevention licenses. You can configure Global Protect VPN and have site-to-site and remote access VPN. But when it comes to like we discussed, the contextual information and security access control based upon compliant security posture, there is an additional license called HIP, host information profile, which enables the users and devices to go through a list of security checks before and making sure that they are compliant before connecting to the corporate network. But now, due to this COVID-19 situation, Palo Alto is issuing Global Protect subscription, the free one, as well as the I would say the HIP feature-based license for, I would say, 90 days free of cost, and without any extra charges, on any kind of or without any conditions, I would say. Same goes for Prisma Access, which is, I would say, Global Protect on cloud. So previously it was called Global Protect on cloud. This is not the Global Protect VPN for on VM series firewall. So like we saw, there are three flavors: Global Protect on hardware, on VM series, and on the cloud. So they previously it was called Global Protect Cloud Service. Now they have made it Prisma Access, which provides you with um, remote access VPN across the globe for cloud-based infrastructure or cloud-based SaaS applications. So even with Prisma, they have started, they are giving free access to Prisma for 90 days, and they are also giving free, quick start professional services to onboard their customers. So it is this. So it can be helpful for existing as well as new customers. So that was it. So this was in I would say in the crisp way what Global Protect is, what enhancements have been done with version 9, and how the technology works, and what are the current promos when it comes to Global Protect VPN and Palo Alto Networks. So you can please let me know if you have any questions or if you need any additional information. And moreover, I would just like to tell you, share with you some information. So if you're an existing customer, you can definitely have, you have a dedicated now resource center. If you're an existing Palo Alto customer, they have launched a COVID-19 response center specifically on the support portal. So you need to be an existing customer to have access to these resources. And I would say these are very informative and very easy to use articles, because all the articles for Global Protect have been consolidated and placed at a single place. There are a lot of informative videos for knowing about the features, how you can use Cloudflare in the best possible way, and Prisma Access. Okay, so this is for existing customers. There's a whole section, huge section now with additional documents related to Global Protect for version 9 and Prisma Access. So I can share you these links on chat, and yeah, and you can also go for free demo or webinars specifically for Global Protect and Prisma Access, or basically learning about how to make remote access or remote workforce secure. So I think this is a webinar which has happened recently, and this is the one which will happen. So you can take advantage of them and learn more about that. So that was it about Palo Alto Networks and Global Protect VPN. So if you have any questions, please do let me know.
I think those are the questions for today, Naveed. Again, I would like to thank you for making time and hosting this session for us. I would also like to thank all the attendees for attending the session, and I hope we've answered all of your questions. In case you have any questions in future, you can always write back to us and we will answer all of your queries. So thanks again, and I hope all of you have a great weekend.
Thank you, Bindya. Thank you, everyone.